Two systems. One planet. And almost every political argument you have ever witnessed comes down to a disagreement between them. Capitalism versus socialism. The most debated economic question of the last 200 years. And also one of the most misunderstood, because most people arguing about it are arguing about versions of these systems that do not actually exist anywhere in the world. Today we are going to explain what capitalism and socialism actually are, how they actually work, what the real advantages and disadvantages of each are, and what the world actually looks like when you stop arguing about the theory and start looking at the practice. No political agenda. No side taking. Just the clearest explanation of both systems you will find anywhere. Let us start with capitalism, because it is the system most people in the world live in, at least in some form. Capitalism is an economic system in which the means of production, factories, land, businesses, resources, are privately owned. Individuals and companies own property, produce goods and services, and sell them in markets where prices are determined by supply and demand. Profit is the primary incentive. Competition between producers drives efficiency and innovation. The government's role is limited, primarily to enforcing contracts and protecting property rights. The core logic of capitalism is that when individuals pursue their own self-interest in competitive markets, resources tend to be allocated efficiently. When a product is in high demand, its price rises. Higher prices attract more producers who want to capture the profit. More production increases supply. Increased supply eventually brings prices back down. The market, through this mechanism, coordinates the decisions of millions of people without any central authority directing them. Adam Smith called this the invisible hand, not a literal hand, but a metaphor for how competitive markets produce coordinated outcomes without anyone planning them. The real advantages of capitalism are documented and real. Market economies have produced historically unprecedented levels of material prosperity. The profit motive has driven technological innovation at a pace no previous economic system achieved. Capitalism tends to allocate resources toward things people actually want, because producers who make things people want make profits, and producers who make things people do not want eventually stop. The real disadvantages are equally documented. Unregulated capitalism tends to produce significant inequality, because the returns from capital accumulate to those who already have capital. It can produce monopolies, where a single dominant company eliminates competition and captures the benefits that competition was supposed to provide. It can produce negative externalities like pollution that the market does not price or address on its own. And it produces boom and bust cycles that cause real hardship for ordinary people. Now let us talk about socialism. Socialism is an economic system in which the means of production are owned collectively either by the state, by workers, or by the community as a whole. Rather than private individuals and companies deciding what to produce and at what price, production is coordinated through some form of collective decision-making. The primary goal is not profit but the meeting of social needs and the reduction of inequality. The core logic of socialism is that private ownership of the means of production concentrates economic power in the hands of a small number of people, who then use that power to extract value from workers and accumulate wealth at the expense of the broader population. By transferring ownership to the collective, the benefits of production are distributed more broadly and more fairly. The real advantages of socialist elements within economies are documented. Public provision of healthcare, education, housing, and infrastructure can ensure that access to these goods is not determined purely by ability to pay. Societies with stronger socialist elements tend to have lower inequality and better outcomes in health, education, and social mobility. Countries that combine market economies with strong social investment consistently rank among the best places to live in the world. The real disadvantages are also documented and real. Central planning of production is extremely difficult. The information required to efficiently coordinate the production and distribution of millions of different goods across an entire economy is staggering, and no central authority has demonstrated a reliable ability to manage it accurately. The absence of the profit motive can reduce the incentive for innovation and efficiency. Workers and businesses with no stake in outcomes tend to perform differently than those with direct incentives. And the history of fully socialist economies includes significant economic underperformance, persistent shortages, and in some cases profound human suffering. Now here is the most important point and the one most arguments about capitalism versus socialism miss entirely. No country in the world operates a pure version of either system. Every developed economy in the world is a mixed economy. It has private ownership of most means of production, that is the capitalist element. And it has significant government intervention, public provision of certain goods and services, redistribution through taxation, and regulation of markets, those are the socialist elements. The United States, which is typically held up as the most capitalist major economy, has Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, public schools, public infrastructure, a central bank, and extensive financial regulation. These are not features of pure capitalism. The Scandinavian countries, which are sometimes described as socialist, have private ownership of businesses, competitive stock markets, and economies that consistently rank highly on measures of economic freedom. These are not features of pure socialism. The real debate is not capitalism versus socialism. The real debate is about where to draw the line between private and collective, between market coordination and government coordination, between accepting inequality in exchange for efficiency and accepting less efficiency in exchange for greater equality. And the evidence from the countries that have performed best, by measures of prosperity, health, education, happiness, and social mobility, suggests that the answer is not found at either extreme. It is found in the mix. In market economies with genuine competition, strong institutions, meaningful regulation, and significant investment in public goods and social protection. The stickman watching a political argument about capitalism and socialism from the outside now knows something most of the people arguing do not. The choice is not binary. The question is not which system, it is which mix, how much of each, and what values you want that mix to reflect. And that is a question worth arguing about. Just make sure you are arguing about the right thing. Quick reminder, everything in this video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. See you in the next one.